Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah and I am your host today from myindielifeblog.net. Today I am going to be delivering a walkthrough video for PostMaker to show you how to use their tool to create variations in your content for your social media. This is a great tool that I have started using and I think it's going to benefit you too. Now, before we get there, I just want to talk about why you would create variations on similar content to go out across your social media platforms, in particular sites like Twitter. Now, a variation for your content would be a simple tweak to an original piece of content. So it could be some text change, it could be an image change, and so on. And the idea is that it would help you scale the content that you have on a particular subject so that you can use that to then elicit engagement and ideally those all important click-throughs from your audience over time across the channel you're wishing to promote that content on. Now, I talk about Twitter specifically when I talk about content variations because we all know that tweets last only for about 18 minutes. So it's really important if you have something that you really want people to see and to click through on, you mention it multiple times over a few days or a few weeks. In that case, you'll want to create content that has variables to it so that you're avoiding Twitter jail basically, because there is a specific rule on duplicate content or spam content on Twitter. Now, we know as marketers that creating variations on content can take time. It can feel simple sometimes, harder other times, but essentially it takes a lot of time to sit there and write and create all of that content. Well, the tool that I'm going to show you today, PostMaker, is a tool that's created specifically to help us with our productivity in that area by generating those variations on our content for us quickly and easily, given some preset variables that we give the software. Now, it all sounds very complicated, but actually it's very simple, which is why I want to do this walkthrough video today so that you can see how the tool works and where it will be applicable to you in your business. So let's dive in. Okay, so first of all, you will want to go to postmaker.io and select your plan, your pricing plan, so that you can start your 14-day free trial with PostMaker to generate your new content variables on an ongoing basis for your social media channels. There are lots of tiered options here, so I would select the one that is most appropriate to you, and then you'll be taken through to your account. When you're in your account, setup is fairly simple. So immediately you'll be taken through to your dashboard, which we can see here, and you'll see that there are several things that you can search through your existing content with. You can either do that via campaign or via clients if you serve a number of different clients, or have a number of different accounts for your own business, and then you can see the variations. And we'll talk about each of those things as we go through, but your dashboard essentially is the quick glance guide to what content you have going out. So you would start by going to the team page and making sure that you can invite all of the people who you want to start working with you in your PostMaker account. Now, depending on your pricing tier option, you will be able to pick the number of people who can work with you directly onto your account. You would go to your brands page, and this is where you are going to create essentially the clients or the different accounts that you're working with here. So in this case, you can see that I've already set up one for my business, my Indie Life blog. If I wanted to add another brand for one of my other clients, I would simply press add brand and add in their details. So I'm just going to call it number one. Obviously, you would fill in the rest of the information as appropriate, and then in the end, press create, and that will create your second brand. Now you'll be able to go into each of these by pressing campaigns, and that will show you any active campaigns you have with that particular client. The next tab on the left-hand sidebar is variables. Now you'll see that I've already got some variables created for me. Now I've done this by going to packs, which is directly underneath variables on the left-hand sidebar. And you can see that PostMaker have started to create packs of content variables that we can use in our content, which is a fantastic extra touch. So the first one that I have pre-selected, and all you need to do is toggle on or off the buttons above the demo pack title, and that will give you access under variables for those particular types of content. So here we can see that there are two different types of variables in the demo pack. That's days and months. So if I go back to variables, you'll be able to see those pre-created pieces of content variables are already showing up in my variable library. If I wanted to add something else, I can do that by adding variable here. So let's say, for example, we want to create a variable that's going to give me several different call to actions that I can employ across a number of tweets or social media content to extend the life cycle of one piece of content. So select the variable library in question that you want to edit or create. You want to name that. So I'm going to call that CTA or call to action. You can select your variable delimiter, which essentially is how you are distinguishing, or how you're telling the software to distinguish between each of my call to actions in this case. So I'm going to press a new line here. So it will mean that every time I type a new line and piece of text on that new line, the software will recognize that as a different call to action from the previous line. And then you would select under scope the either brand or campaign that you specifically want this variable library to be attached to. So I'm going to add that to my brand. So I'm going to select my Indie Life blog, and then I would simply write my call to action lines here. So let's say, for example, I'm looking to promote my blog post. I want to say, read more here, and then maybe select a emoji to go with that. I might want to say something like, try this tip here, and again. Now, however many lines you create are how many variables you're going to create for that specific piece of content. So when you've finished, you just press save, and now you will see that that library is showing up under the variables tab on the left-hand side, and it will tell you exactly what you called it, and it will show you which brand or campaign you've linked that variable to. That'll show you how many items you have in it. So if we go over to those demo packs that PostMaker created for us, you can see they've got days and months. So they've got 7 days and 12 months here. You could add a ton of different variables here. So you could add colors, you could add sizes, anything that suits your need to create your content quickly and easily. And what you'll do then is you will go back to brands, and you will find the campaign that you want to work on. So in this case, I want to tie those call to actions to a campaign under my Indie Life blog. And you want to press Add Campaign. We want to give it a name. So I'm just going to call it Blog Post. Obviously, you would extend upon that so you can distinguish which blog post you are talking about. You could even give it a description there so that if you are working with lots of other team members, this will easily help them to distinguish the bits of content that you have going out under your campaigns for this particular brand and therefore get those cycles through, generated and into action quickly. So once you've finished, you just press create, and this would then appear under the campaigns for that particular client, in this case, My Indie Life blog. There are several things that you can do. You can either press directly onto the title, or you can press the ellipse, and the ellipse will allow you to update that particular campaign details. So sometimes, as we know, campaigns will change over time. So particularly if you're working with teams, it's quite nice to keep that description up to date and refreshed. So you would just press update as soon as you have made your changes, and that will save for you. But if you want to go into that campaign to find out exactly what's going on, you would press the title of that campaign, and it will take you through to the individual campaign details. So if we go back to setup, what I like to do here, and what it allows you to do, is to select your social media scheduler of choice. I'm going to press recur post here, and that will help me to, in the end, set up the CSV file that I will then upload to recur post to create this content from. From there, you can click inspiration if you want to, and what you can do is add in a URL. So if I had a URL for the blog post that I'm wishing to promote, I could add that in here, and the system will help to generate ideas on that blog post for content that I might create. Now, I specifically like to create my own content, so inspiration may not always be useful to me, but I come from a place where I've practiced writing my content, so I know exactly what I'm going to be promoting and how I want to word that. But if you do need help, you've got that inspiration point there, which is a great little touch. We're then going to click onto variables, and then we can select or add to and update the variable we wish to add. So in this case, I'm going to select my call to actions, and I could type in something else there, or not, take out, manipulate or change those particular calls to action, and then update that once I've finished. Let's have a look at variations. To add a variation, just need to press that there. And what this really is your content base. So I'm going to give this particular piece of content a name. I'm going to call it blog post 1, and I would give that a specific name related to the post in question. Let's say I have a blog post that is all about productivity. I could say something like, learn how to once I've got my piece of content there, I'm going to want to add the variation, or the variable that I originally had in mind. So the way that we do that, and there's lots of documentation which I'll show you in a minute, that will help you to create this. So I'm just going to add in my variable. Now, as you remember, I called the variable that I want to use CTA. So if I type in these squared brackets, CTA, will show underneath that the system has picked up my variable library. So it knows that it has 2 items here to display in that part of my tweet. So once I'm happy with my piece of content, I can add hashtags to it as well. So let's say I've got my 2 hashtags, I could also write in my post directly underneath now. You can see I've written this piece of code directly beside hashtags. It gives you the code in question that you can use for your post, and that question mark there can be replaced by a number. So let's say, for example, I've got 10 different hashtags on this line and I choose 2 hashtags. It means that it will variate this content to include all of those tags, but only no more than twice per tweet. So I'm going to just select one there so that I know this will already give me 2 tweets. So I will have 1 tweet with the social media hashtag and 1 tweet with productivity hashtag. This is where I would add my URL that will go along with this. And I could also add URLs if I have particular images that I wish to use. Now, depending on which social media scheduler that you're going to upload this to, you may wish to add those images later on in bulk with your content. And that's quite quick and easy to do on most social media schedulers. So personally, I've tended to leave the media URLs out, but do try it and see what works for you. Once you've got your content set up, you've got your variables set up, you've written your hashtags if they're relevant to that particular campaign, then you would go to output. And what this will do is it shows the campaign that you've got going. If you press generate, it will show you all of the variations that you have to post. Now, this is brilliant because it does 2 things. It shows you that you can tweet it, or you can download the CSV, so you can upload this directly to your social media scheduler and get going, or it means that you can go back to your variation and amend any issues that you can see with your tweet. So I can see directly here that my hashtag hasn't worked. So if I go back to variations, then it might be that I need to add in a comma or something like that to change my variations. If I press generate again, yeah, there you can see that's worked this time. So because I chose just 1 hashtag per content, it's given me those as options, and it's generated the 2 posts for me given the parameters that I have asked it to. So again, read through that text and make sure it reads how you want it to read before you download your CSV. At any time you can go back to your variations and change anything that you want to change. So I could, for example, say that I want to show both tags across both of my variable call to action options. So if I change that there, I would just go back to output, press generate again, and you can see that it has generated that new content based on the changes that I have made. Okay, so once you've finished, download your CSV file so that you can upload it to your social media scheduler and press save campaign. And then when you go back to your brands page, this will allow you to see what you've got going out and what you've created for your individual campaigns. The other element I wanted to show you is documentation, because this is really super helpful, and I'm ever so thankful to PostMaker for producing such high quality documentation, or as you might otherwise call it, a knowledge library, because it literally talks you through how to create each of your campaigns, how to set them up, and how to create those all important variables and so on. So if ever you get stuck, you've got a library of tools here for you. So it shows you how to set up your variables here. It's got some illustrations as well, so you just have a really clear idea of what you are doing and where you're doing it. And then writing your variations, it shows you what to put in those all-important square brackets. What it also does is it gives you some examples as well, so it shows you how you can create multiple pieces of content using some very basic coding almost that the system utilizes to generate your variations from. Once you've uploaded this to your social media scheduler, you've got plenty of content ready to go for your next campaign. So I hope that tutorial walkthrough has been helpful. I do think that PostMaker has a place for us content marketers. So if you do regularly create content for your clients that either encompasses sales or something that they're going to want to mention a number of times, or even if you're a blogger out there and you are looking to use a tool that's going to help you create multiple variations for platforms like Twitter. And it's not just for Twitter, you could use this for Facebook, LinkedIn, even for Instagram if you wanted to create longer form content that you might want to mention over the coming 3-4 months. Then this tool is going to help you create that quickly and easily. So all it means is that you download your content and then upload it to your social media scheduler, ready to go. Fantastic. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed watching the video, and also leave a comment below if there are any other types of social media tools that you would like me to go through and create some walkthrough videos for. Okay, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.